Hello, and welcome to what I like to call Alan-ysis. It's a really dumb pun with my name and the word analysis, if it wasn't clear enough already. That being said, I'm Alan from the Casually Hardcore podcast, and I'd like to try and talk to you about teamwork, competition today. We'll see how that goes. I want you to imagine a pretty simple scenario. You're in a forest, all alone, you don't know what's out there. Would you rather A, be by yourself, you're lonesome, or B, be with a group of people or a team? Easily, most people who have, a value for their lives would rather be in a group of people than by themselves. It's much easier to, survive with a group than by yourself. And if you obviously don't have any food, you can just eat some of your teammates, right? I'm joking. Partially. But this reaction to group survival is sort of what has permeated into our culture even today. From tribes in Egypt, Roman Colosseum building, stuff like that. Our culture has revolved around groups, cliques, teams, stuff like that make it strong, in a sense. But we've gone past the days of trying to survive in the wilderness, so why is it so popular today in sports and video games? Isn't it just as satisfying to be able to fight for yourself, make a name by yourself, instead of being in a team? Pulitzer Prize-winning biologist E.O. Wilson has interesting thoughts on this. He says, "We are group crazy. That is what we must do at all times. We must communicate and form bonds. We became socially intelligent when we came together in the bonding situation of a nest, a campsite. So to read one another's intentions, to cooperate, is something that works at the individual selection level, and it explains an awful lot about human behavior." Makes sense. Humans bonded in ways that allowed them to survive in the past, and in a way, we have bonded with other people in our lives, such as friends, today. And that still doesn't explain sports or video games, which is what the core of this channel is about. I think we need to look a little bit deeper into sports specifically, as they have a much larger and longer history with teams. The majority of most popular sports are team-based. A couple like MMA or wrestling being more about the individual, or I guess the performance. But both have an incredible need for story and stuff like that allow the players to really enjoy watching it. Stuff like controversy, underdogs, make the games much enjoyable to watch. But of course, this can all be said not only about team games, but individual stuff too. So what really drives sort of rift between multiplayer and single-player experiences? John Tower, a professor of psychology at the University of St. Thomas, may have an answer. Tower conducted an experiment to test how cooperation and competition impacted a group of children at a basketball camp. Placed kids into one of four groups: individual, pure cooperation, pure competition, and intergroup competition. All that was required of them was to shoot free throws. Each group, of course, did something a little bit differently. Individual group kids simply shot alone and tried to meet a goal. Pure cooperation kids shot with a teammate and tried to meet a goal together. In the pure competition groups, kids tried to make more free throws than an opponent. In the intergroup competition, a team of two campers tried to make more free throws with a teammate than another team of two campers. Overall, Tower's research showed that the intergroup competition found it much more enjoyable to compete than all the other groups. Keeping this in mind, you can swap the terms single player and multiplayer for the terms pure competition and intergroup competition, respectively. Keeping this in mind and applying it to our scenario, team-based games are still beating out single-player games. Why is this? It's mainly because of the ability that teams have over individual sort of things like the MMA fighting or fighting games. In a team, you're allowed some leeway to how good you can be. You don't always have to be at the top of your game, but you always have to perform consistently, at least, to allow the rest of your team to do their jobs. So less stress is a factor. Secondly, you have your teammates to lean on, of course. Whenever things get tough, you have people to talk to. It's not always your fault if you lose. Of course, it's unhealthy to blame your teammates 100% if you lose, because you were part of the problem, probably. And lastly, teams allow each player to compound their skill with another, making them, in a way, stronger overall than if possibly they were by themselves. It's like trying to build something. If you're skilled enough, you can obviously build something easily It's going to take a lot of time and experience to get to that level though. With a team, however, you could probably cut that time down in maybe half if you have people specifically knowledgeable about certain parts of the project. Overall, teams have a sort of pull that single player games just can't get. It's a pull that's been with us for the longest time, and it'll continue to pull at us probably forever. But those are just my thoughts. What do you think? Comment down below and tell me your opinions. Like or dislike this video, and subscribe if you want more content like this. This has been Alan from the Casually Hardcore Podcast. See you later.